And we are back. Welcome to my predictions for the EFL League 1 and League 2 playoff finals taking place at Wembley Stadium this weekend. The first of three very busy weekends for Wembley coming up in a row. We've got the League 1, League 2 playoff finals this week. We have the Championship playoff final and the FA Cup final next week. And then the Champions League final at Wembley the weekend after that. So three massive weekends at Wembley to come. Two massive weekends of playoff action to come. If you missed yesterday's video where I predicted last night's Leeds against Norwich game and tonight's Southampton against West Brom game in the Championship playoff finals, you can check out that video in the top of your screen right now. But today we are here to talk about tomorrow and Sunday's League 1 and League 2 playoff finals. So before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel. If you're new around here, we've got loads of more predictions coming up for you in the next few days, of course, including tomorrow's video, which will be my predictions for the final day of the Premier League season. But without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Starting off with the League 1 playoff final taking place at Wembley Stadium tomorrow afternoon. And the two sides going into it, as you would expect, are probably going to be full of confidence. Bolton Wanderers were able to get the win over Barnsley in slightly bizarre circumstances. Bolton getting the win in the away leg with a scoreline of 3-1, but then losing the second leg, but thankfully only by a 1-goal margin, meaning that they went through by 1 goal on aggregate. But a very sort of weird pair of games, that one. Oxford played it absolutely perfectly, getting the 1-0 win at home and then getting the draw in the away leg, meaning that they also went through by a margin of 1 goal. So it sets this one up quite nicely. Both sides sort of set out their game plans pretty well over the course of the two legs. But like I said, Bolton did nearly blow it. The biggest factors I have going into these games is that Oxford United just haven't really scored well in those two legs, whereas Bolton have been able to score well. And the other big factor is that when these sides met as early as March, so literally just 2 months ago, Bolton won this fixture 5-0. Which was Oxford's biggest defeat of the season and Bolton's biggest win of the season. So that has got to be playing on the Oxford United players' minds. Whether you've got to use it as a motivator, you really do. You've got to say, right, we've got to put this right. And if we do put it right, we're getting ourselves promoted to the Championship. But for me, you look at that head-to-head, you look at how Bolton have played in those two matches, and I just think they're going to have too much. I think Oxford have a position whereby if they sit in low, maybe they try and hit them on the counter, try and do what they did to Peterborough in that first leg. I just don't see it. I think Bolton are going to be the side that are going to be making it up to the Championship. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I would be surprised if Oxford score in this one. But hey, Oxford fans, let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think you guys are going to do? How are you going to put right the result in March? And how are you going to get yourselves to the Championship? Or Bolton fans, Mr. Grimshaw, if you're watching, my old English teacher, massive Bolton fan. If you are watching, let me know. How are Bolton getting themselves up to the Championship? For me, that is how it is going to go. The other game taking place on Sunday between Crawley Town and Crewe Alexander in League 2 is even more fascinating because for a Crawley fan, this is why people love the playoffs. For me, this is why I particularly don't like the playoffs. MK Dons finished in the top spot. I think it's third in League 2 that doesn't get promoted. And Crawley finished in the furthest position out in the playoffs. So quite literally the worst playoff team against the best playoff team going up against each other. An 8-point difference between the two sides. So Crawley weren't even close to finishing anywhere near MK Dons. Crawley beat them by an aggregate scoreline of 8-1. To me, I just think that's not fair. And let me know your thoughts on how playoffs should and shouldn't work. For me, it should be the team that finishes in the last playoffs, the last spot to get automatic promotion versus the team at the bottom or the top of the relegation zone from the higher division. I think that's how they should do it. It's how they do it in other countries. I just think that's a better way of doing it rather than awarding a team who finished way below an opportunity to get promoted. I don't agree with it, but fair play to Crawley for taking full advantage of that setup. An 8-1 win over MK Dons. An incredible performance from them over the course of the two legs. And they're obviously going to be so fired up for this final off the back of that performance. Crewe with an even more bizarre set of circumstances than what Bolton had. Crewe won 2-0 away at Doncaster. then lost 2-0 at home to Doncaster, which took it all the way through to extra time and then penalties, where eventually Crewe, in front of their home fans, were able to just about get the penalty shootout win. So when you look in terms of momentum and things like that, you've got to say it's in favour of Crawley going into this final. However, again, when you go to the head-to-head between these two sides earlier on in the season, Crewe won both games. So there is so much going on into this game. Both sides are going to feel like they're the favourites going into it. Crawley, obviously, off the back of the 8-1 win over MK Dons. Crewe, off the fact that they've beaten Crawley twice already this season. So I can't split them, and I'm not going to split them. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw in 90 minutes. And then I just think, potentially, due to the fact that they've not had to play as many minutes, I can then see Crawley potentially getting the win in extra time. But for me, I've got 1-1 in 90 minutes. I can't split them over the course of the game. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm going to say Crawley get the win in the end. But Crawley and Crewe fans, like I said about the first game, you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How confident are you that your side is going to be making it up into League One? And yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. For me, it is going to be Bolton making their way up to the Championship, and then a very, very tight game in the League 2 playoff final, where I think it's just going to be Crawley beyond the 90-minute mark. But I'm going to go for a draw within 90 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. As always, do not forget to keep an eye out for tomorrow morning's video, where we're going to be doing all 10 of the final game week of the Premier League season predictions. Thank you very much for watching once again. I will see you there.